Hey everyone, Livy here, back with another video. This time with another new tarot tag, because why not? But this one I think is very special because it is about, building yourself up and making friends within the tarot community. So, the tarot tube, I guess, community in specific, but I'm calling this tag Tarot Community Build. This is a way, whether if you're newer to Tarot Tube like me, or if you've been around Tarot Tube a while, but you just want to make some new friends, this is a VR basically for you. I'm going to start by listing off all the questions and even the lightning round questions, because I decided to do a lightning round because why not? And then I will go ahead and answer them myself, because you always got to lead by example, right? So there are 10 main questions, and then let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lightning round questions at the end. So question number 1 is kind of a loaded question, but it's your name, preferred pronouns, and your channel name if you have one. Because if you don't have a channel, that's okay. You can also respond below to any of these questions, right? 2 is, what first got you into tarot? And if you have a channel, why did you create it? 3 is, what is your tarot aesthetic? Basically, what kinds of decks are you attracted to? 4 is, what tarot system is your favorite and which do you want to learn? 5 is about top 3 favorite major arcana cards. 6 is favorite suit of the minor arcana and why. 7 is, which of the cards would you consider as your significator? 8 is cardstock a big deal for you? 9, do you read for others? And 10 is just the number 1 deck that you are excited to have come out this year. And again, these are just fun questions so that people can start getting to know each other. Also, if you like somebody's response, you could be like, ooh, I want to be their friend. Let me chat them up. Let me say, hey, And that's why these kind of questions were created, because you learn best from people, when they explain themselves, I guess. And finally, these are just fun, random questions. If you want to do them, you can. You don't have to do these as part of the tag. But I think these are just, fun, random, one-off questions that sometimes people ask. So the lightning round questions are: coffee or tea? Cats or dogs? Colors or monochromatic? Flora or fauna? And then 2 of these questions, you keep them short, but you might need to explain a little more, which is like favorite time of day and favorite things to do besides tarot. So, oh man, it's already 3 minutes and I had to do just explaining these questions. So let me start or continue, I guess, by answering these myself. For question number 1, first off, I already said it kind of at the beginning, but my name is Livy. Well, full name is technically Olivia, but my preferred pronouns are they, them. I sometimes use she, her, but that's really only for like people in real life that that don't really know I'm non-binary and I can't really come out to, So for most others, they, them, and that's why I go by Livy instead of Olivia. I don't know what it is. Something about Olivia feels very very feminine when I don't feel like I always am. But anyways, yeah, so Livy, they, them, unless in specific spaces where you need to use she, her instead. And my channel name is Crescent Dreams Tarot. Now, for question number 2, what first got me into tarot, right? And why did I create this channel? I think I talked about this maybe in my tarot origins. I don't remember. I first got into tarot through, honestly, books and fantasy and seeing a lot of the archetypes around, and a book series I was reading at the time, kind of, The Raven's Prophecy. Oh, no, that's the tarot's name. The actual book by Maggie Stiefvater, the series, is called The Raven Cycle, which kind of went more into tarot. And then I kept seeing the cards pop up all over the place while I was in college. And that just made me want to actually, get into tarot. But why did I create my channel, right? Why am I trying to build community here? And honestly, that's because I want to make more friends. To be real for a second, there's not very many people in my day-to-day life that know I love tarot. I feel like some of them, if they knew, they might think it really weird or heretical that I do tarot. And just other than that, I just don't really talk about it much with like people I know at work and stuff. So, this is how you build community, right? Reaching out, trying to chat people up. Because otherwise you're just kind of your own little unit on your own, trying to do tarot. But yeah, you don't want to feel excluded in many ways. So that's why I created my channel, because I am trying to build community. And that's also why I wanted to make this tag. And next, we'll finally start looking at some cards here, because the best way to explain question number 3, my tarot aesthetic, is to actually show it, right? What kinds of decks am I attracted to? It's funny, I have a couple of different parameters of decks that I like. This first category is not very often, okay? But I do like what I call cute but kind of creepy. I like tarot that feature that, but I have a very specific way I like it. Specifically, I love the way that Holly Audley does it for like the teeny tiny tarot, and Nicoletta Ciccoli for the Nicoletta Ciccoli tarot. Cute and creepy, but depends. That one's more of a balancing, so that's not really, I wouldn't count that as my complete tarot aesthetic. I would say tarot that, let me see what else I have here. Ooh, tarot that is fantastical. Like these. I would say these 3 are probably some of the most, besides Shadowscapes Tarot, which I could have also shown, but tarot decks that are based on things that are very fantastical, very other, like things based off of favorite books series for me, or things that are based off of dreams, like the Monsoon Tarot, right? That's part of my tarot aesthetic, for sure, is fantasy, right? I think another vein of my tarot aesthetic, personally, has to do with things that are nature-y, I would call it. Yeah, nature-y. Like this. I'm going to show it like this. Things that have like animals, like the mini oak, ash, and thorn, right? Or this oracle called the Hidden Forest Oracle. Actually, I might flip through this in just a second. I'll leave it on the side here. That's part of my aesthetic, though. The Seed and Sickle, if you've known this deck, is very, see, the box even shows you, very nature-y and, like, pretty at the same time. That's also my aesthetic. Even this deck, which is technically not an oracle, but I think, but I treat it like an oracle. Even this one, right? Like, if I just show some of the cards, nature, right? My aesthetic. And that's just some of it. Another aesthetic point for me, besides fantasy, nature, sometimes cute and creepy, I really like things that feel old and vintagey without being like decrepit. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Things like the Coastal Curiosities aesthetic. Okay, this is my aesthetic. Like if I could bottle that up and just, something about this. Aesthetic, vintagey at the same time, but also kind of connects to nature. Things like the Guided Hand Tarot, right, that are collage based, but they feel so like I don't know, something about this at the same time feels old school, you know? I don't know how else to explain that, but this 100% aesthetic for me. Another way though, kind of, well, it's in the same vein as the Coastal Curiosities would be like the 5-cent tarot. Trying to get this out. Oh yeah, I have the lavender one, just for those who are alarmed for a second. There we go. The light hits it. You can see the little, like, is that called cold stamping? I don't remember. This is also a way, right? This is a different kind of vintage. But this is also an aesthetic for me. I like this kind of like cabinet of curiosities without being like too weird in some ways, but it is still kind of weird and you're like, what in the world is going on with this deck? This is also an aesthetic for me. So that's so far, right? I said cute, creepy, fantasy, naturey, vintagey. And the last one that's kind of an aesthetic, but isn't always. Sorry, I'm like trying to move stuff out of the way at the same time as I explain this shit, right? Is very colorful. Wow, and it got really dark in here. I'm so sorry, guys. California rainy season is wild this year. Also decks that are very, what the heck is that? Very, very colorful. And I would say these two have it, but it has to be in a way that doesn't burn my eyes. I want color, but I don't want to I don't want to be destroyed by color. So this is like, this deck has a good balance for me, right? Colorful, pretty, colorful and pretty. And another, always a good example. You can see some of the images on the back. I'm not going to open up this one. It's like Prismavisions, detailed, colorful, beautiful. Yeah. So that's another tarot aesthetics. And those are the main ones, I would say. Those are my main tarot aesthetics. If you have a similar aesthetic, yeah, maybe we can be buds. Well, even if you don't have the same tarot aesthetic, I still like being friends with people who have like different aesthetics than me. It's just always fun. Moving these to the side. Maybe as I feel like I don't show this deck enough. This is an Etsy deck. Oh, or you can like go to her website, Megan Mers, I believe. As I answer the next question, I'm just going to hold this one, maybe. Or maybe I'll put it to the side. I might hold it after I explain this next one. Duh. Next question. What tarot system is your favorite and which do you want to learn? Favorite, I have to say, I know it's very basic. Basic bitch to say, Rider-Waite-Smith. It's what I learned. It's what I've pretty much, not completely memorized, but I'm like if it was a language and I had to say how fluent I am in it, I would probably say I'm like 95% fluent, Rider-Waite-Smith. So that's why it's my fave. But there's two systems I'm actually interested in learning currently. The first is, I'm showing off the Yonasa Yao 7th edition because this is based on Marseille style of tarot. And the other one I'm trying to learn, but I need to really sit and deep dive with this one day, is Kipper. So this is a Seaborn Kipper by, I butchered her name once. I'm so sorry to her. I believe her name's actually pronounced Ciolo. And I pronounced it Shiloh or something once. I am so sorry. And Thomas Whithold. This will eventually be mass market. So if you like the idea of learning Kipper too, yeah, this will be coming out. But this is the indie version of it. Kipper I'm interested in learning because it seems to be more straightforward than Lenormand or Lenormand, as other people call it. It still does grand tableau and all that stuff from my understanding so far of it, but it's about very literal things, which I appreciate. Something about Lenormand, it's so abstract. I don't know. My brain's not wrapping around it. But Marseille, I'm going to actually pull out this deck. Marseille style deck is more because it's, it's one of the first. It was, or not one of, it was the first tarot, was Marseille tarot. I didn't used to be interested in learning this because I'm not a fan of pips. But this deck just completely sucker punched me into it. So I'm learning Marseille now. I even have a whole book on it. This card. I need to sit with this one. It's very interesting that the Six of Swords is pregnant for some reason. I don't know. But anyways, Marseille. Yeah, I'm trying to learn that right now. I barely got through like the introduction and stuff of the book I'm currently reading. So don't ask me anything. I don't know. I'm learning. Okay, it's a tarot study for this year. But anyways, I can still flip through this and show off this deck as I talk about the next thing. Top 3 favorites. Major Arcana. Actually, could I find it with this? Let me see if I've already passed them up. Sorry. So I like figure out, did I already pass my faves? Did I? No, I guess I haven't. Maybe I'll find it in here. One of my favorite has to be, if I had to pick, like, oh, here's the world, but that's not one of my faves. I just love the coloring of this one. Ooh. I used to think Strength was up there for me. It is one of those special cards for me, but I wouldn't say it's my fave. So let me keep going. I would say the Magician first and foremost. It is one of my birth cards, so maybe that's why I'm biased. Sorry, can't even talk today. That's probably why I'm biased. I really like the Magician just because it's supposed to be one of those cards for me that's like a confidence builder. It's something I'm trying to get to. I feel like that's a big theme of my life because it is one of my birth cards. These are some other Major Arcana, but they're not my favorite here. The Star or the Tower or even, I guess, the Fool. Right? Actually, no, this is not a video to rant. I'm not going to get into the Fool today. Ooh, this is good High Priestess, though. So the Magician is number 1, maybe. Is it? Is it? I was like, is it number 1? I guess so. Another favorite Major Arcana in general, I think for me, is the Hermit. Oh, this is the Hierophant. Cool. I mean, being an introvert, you know, I really like associate with the Hermit because I feel like that's just a big path in my life, you know. Oh, there's the Moon. And so that's why it's one of those favorites. So Magician, Hermit, and maybe trying to see if I can find any of my other faves. Here's Temperance. Here's Death. Justice. No, Judgment. Sorry, this is Judgment. This is a cool Judgment card, by the way. I still love this one. This might be in my top. Justice. I feel like a few years ago I would have said Justice would have been one of my faves. Who's number 3? I love how I made up this question and then I can't even like tell you which one is my other. Maybe it probably would be my other birth card, actually. Oh, here it is. My other birth card is probably my other, well, no, technically I have 3, but I'm not going to get into that right now. I think the Wheel of Fortune became one of those that became, like, it snuck up on me. I would have said before Strength was one of my favorites, but I think the Wheel of Fortune is more my favorite now. So, like, top 3, you know, because being a birth card for me, it does actually resonate a lot with, well, me, right? An idea of what comes around will go around. Like, you can die, but your spirit is going to keep going in some other ways, or what happens to you will change like the seasons, you know? So I appreciate the wheel a lot. Even though besides this card or this deck, sometimes it has the ugliest like depictions of it. I'm no tea, no shade, but it does. Oh, and here's the Hermit. But yeah, so top 3 favorite Major Arcana. And my favorite suit of the minors and why. Wow, I'm only on question 6. Jesus Christ. What is wrong with me? I need to speed up. Favorite suit of the minors has to be a tie between the wands, probably, and the cups. Because, well, I'm a fire sign, so I do identify with the wands a lot. I'm also creative, so I do really love the wands. But the cups, there's something about the cups that feels so real. I guess because it deals with your emotions. You can also make a case, I guess, for the swords, but the swords have been dicks to me in the past. So, yeah, the wands are probably my favorite, and then the cups, maybe. Yeah, I think so. Anyways, what else was I gonna go? Oh, question number 7. Which of the core cards would you consider as your significator? Oh, let me put her here, because actually, let me see if I can find. I love how I'm just using this deck. This is like a Marseille style deck, and I'm just using this to explain, like, oh, the last card was actually the Magician. How nice. I have two. It's actually complicated. I think I have 3 cards that, depending on the context, are my significators. And let me try to explain what I mean by that. If we're talking about the suit of wands, I really identify with the Queen of Wands, or more like, you know what? I don't know if she's my significator though. She's who I want to be. Let me specify that. She's who I want to be, is the Queen of Wands. To be confident and to know what I'm doing with anything in life, creativity and otherwise. If I was actually going to pick a significator in the wands, I probably am closer to being the Knight of Wands, but I want to be the Queen. But then, interestingly enough, when it comes to like other suits, in the cup suit, I would say it's the Queen. If I was like a more emotional reading, I would probably use the Queen of Cups as my significator. I mean, isn't that obvious, right? If you do tarot a lot. But the other significator, and this is going to sound weird, maybe. I don't know how people feel about this card in general. The significator I probably use the most often for myself, because it's probably the most accurate to myself in general, is the King of Swords. And here's the thing about significators too. I don't think it matters what age or gender to be any of the significators. I really don't. There's traditions aside, right? There's traditions where people say, oh, it has to be this or it has to be that. I don't believe in that shit. Whatever resonates with you the most, archetype wise, or like just basic definition of what that card means wise, should be you. And I feel like a lot in my life I've had to be that King of Swords. I'm not, because like when I think of someone who's like the Queen of Swords, for instance, I think of my sister. She will say what she wants, say whatever she wants, and not really care as much about hurting people. But I am someone who gives a shit. I do care about hurting people. I don't want to hurt people. And it's come from years of experience in my life. So I think I'm more of a king than a queen in that sense. Like I've had to be the mediator in my own family. I've had to dole out justice at my work, because I work with kids. You know, you have to be very like, it's a lot. It can be a lot. But you have to have a certain mindset to be able to be fair with kids and to reasonably explain things to them. And just even amongst my own friends and stuff, I've had to like be in the middle a lot. So I probably am just the King of Swords, to be honest. That's me as a significator. On question 8, is cardstock a big deal for me? Yes and no. I'm not 100% picky, but I do have cardstocks I absolutely do not like, okay? And I can explain both of them right now, because 2 decks that feature them are right next to me. Most of the time, cardstock, I don't really give a shit. The 2 times I do give a shit is first off with this deck. I love this deck, okay? I do. I love the Steamsicle. But I hate the cardstock in this deck. I really do. For those who have this deck, you probably know what the hell I'm talking about. This cardstock feels like if you were to touch, I've talked about this before. If you were to touch a cereal box, basically, this is what this feels like. I hate it. Maybe it's because I'm autistic. I don't sensory things sometimes. I'm like, bro, no. No. No, dear God, I don't like it. This is probably why I don't use this deck as much as I want to, because this deck is like stunning, but I hate the cardstock. I really do. It just feels like a cereal box. I don't like it. I really don't. Another cardstock though that I really hate is I'm gonna show it. Actually, no, I do have a third one. A third cardstock I don't like. Those are the only three I don't like. Otherwise, I don't care about cardstock. But I don't own any decks with that cardstock currently. But number 2, cardstock I don't like. Unfortunately, I love this deck. I love the art of this deck. I think Push Kitty's cool. But I hate Rose Petal Finish. This is the conundrum. See, this is where I'm very sensory confused by Rose Petal Finish. When I touch it, beautiful, love it, yes, everything. Shuffling it though, you want to see what I'm talking about? Look at how it's clumping. See how they're like not coming apart at all? That's what I hate. I hate when it doesn't come apart at all, but I love touching it. So yeah, Rose Petal Finish really confuses me. It just does. So that's when cardstock matters. The other type of cardstock, I swear to God, I absolutely hate it. And it's made me it saved me actually from buying quite a few decks because I knew it had this cardstock. I hate high, super glossy cardstock. I'm sorry if you like it, but I fucking hate it. I'm sorry. I'm going to cuss. I'm going to say it straight up. I hate gloss, like high gloss cardstock. It is a nightmare. And the reason why for me is that I don't know if anybody else has felt this way, but high gloss cardstock, not only can you not like picture it at all without the light shining on it and it going insane, but high gloss cardstock feels as if you're touching like photographs. You know what I mean? Like especially old photographs from like 80s, 90s, whatever. It feels like you're touching a photograph and your nasty fingerprints are getting all over it. No. Just no. Get that the hell away from me. That is the only times when cardstock matters for me. So I only have 3 exceptions. Otherwise, I really don't care about cardstock. Did that really answer the question? Maybe. Number 9, though, is do you read for others? And the answer to this question is yes and no. Yes, I used to, but no, not recently. More because no one's really asked me for readings. Like the few people who do know I read tarot, I haven't seen them in a while. So no, they haven't asked me for a reading. And then the ones who don't know I do tarot obviously wouldn't ask me because they don't know I do tarot. So lately it's just been readings for myself. But I might want to go into, I've been debating with trying to go professionally, but I don't know how I would go about that, what avenue I would explore. If anyone has better advice on that within the tarot community, go ahead and tell me, please. I don't know. But maybe for the future. And question number 10. Number 1 deck you are excited to have come out this year. And I'm going to do it as a completely new deck, right? There's not very many decks this year. I have a list of decks I specifically want to buy. And then after that list, I don't want any more decks this year. I'm just getting an overwhelm. But number 1 deck I'm excited to have come out this year because I'm just curious to see what it looks like is what's supposed to be the Dark Crystal Tarot. If you know, you know. If you like the Dark Crystal, you know. Thank you, actually, by the way, for Priscilla at, I think it's A Life Full of Simplicity. Did I say your whole channel right? I am so sorry if I did. I know your name. I know your name. And you're amazing. But yeah, Priscilla at A Life Full of Simplicity let me be in the know about the Dark Crystal Tarot. So I am so excited for that deck to come out. That's like the big one for me personally. Oh, well, actually, no. I don't know if this deck is coming out this year, because if it's not, then I don't want to say shit. The only other deck that I'd be super excited for to come out this year is Lennox Reese, the creator of that Coastal Curiosities deck. She's developing a tarot, but I don't think it's coming out this year at all. So, yeah. If it is, though, by surprise, and that would 100% be my top number one. But anyways, moving on. It is time for the lightning round. Yay! The fun random questions that are supposed to go quicker. Let me see if I can do this, guys. Oh, man. Lightning round number one, coffee or tea? Coffee is number one, love. Coffee. But I do like tea more now. Or I'm starting to like more teas. Let me clear that up. But coffee. Cats or dogs? Cats. Sorry, but cats. More than dogs. I do like dogs too, just cats. Colors or monochrome? I prefer colors. Not eye-burnery colors, but colors. I need to see a color aesthetic. Okay? Colors. Not black and white, not all gray, not the rest. Colors. Flora versus fauna. Fauna. Straight up. I do like naturey things. That's funny. I was talking about this deck, right? I can actually show this. I do like nature. I do like flora now as an adult. But if you were to ask me, like, if I had to track my whole life, fauna. Right? Fauna. Animals. Interesting things. I like fauna more. And then finally, the two last questions. My favorite time of day. Is this cheating? Favorite time of day, dawn and dusk. I like when the sky does pretty shit. And the last question, favorite things to do besides tarot? Read, write, music, cooking, baking. Yeah, 5. Those are my favorite things. But yeah, anyways, that's all done. If you watched this long, thank you. As I sound like slightly unhinged through most of this. But if you watched, thank you. If you would like to do this tag, please do. Tag me. I want to make new friends. This is why I did this tag. And yeah. Just want to make some new friends, yo. Anyways, I'm going to close out now after just flipping through this oracle. Thank you so much for sticking around again. And I will see you all again next time. Bye.